Welcome to the Art of Living Free series with Anthony Silard. We would love your support to keep these valuable videos and podcasts free for everyone. To make a donation, please visit theartoflivingfree.org. 100% of all proceeds go to nonprofit education programs. In this episode, Dr. Silard explores the myth of authenticity. Should what you think be what you say?
I'm Anthony Silard, and welcome to the Art of Living Free. Is that true? Is it not true? Well, let's think about what happens if you say everything you think. You might say, for example, by the way, I really don't like your haircut. Or, wow, you kind of smell bad today. Or even, you know what? Just want to share, I probably shouldn't, but I really don't like you. Like those kinds of things, we don't share them, right? And why is it that we don't? Because they don't really serve a purpose. I have a leadership principle I teach, which is be yourself, and then in parentheses, with purpose. So when we show up for any kind of interaction with other people, whether in an organization, with friends, elsewhere, and this is certainly very core to leadership, there's always some kind of reason where we don't just get together to talk. Usually there's a purpose for why we're getting together. There's a Japanese proverb that starts off my first book, which is, vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. Talking is a form of action. If we're going to speak without any kind of vision behind it, any kind of values guiding it, then it's going to become that nightmare of the Japanese proverb. We're going to burn bridges. People that we may want to be able to get along with in the future, they're not going to want to talk to us anymore. The word respect comes from re, which is again, and spect, like we've talked about this, spectators or spectacles. It's about seeing. So respect comes from seeing again. If we want to see someone again, we have to respect them. Well, we can't respect them if we just share everything that comes to our minds. Do you know that we have, on average, over 60,000 thoughts every single day? And we actually choose to share a very, very small minority of those thoughts. So which thoughts are those that we share? So for example, maybe you're very angry at your mother, father, brother, sister, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, child, and shouting at them may feel very authentic. Like, hey, you know what? I'm so tired of you, and you're always doing this, and you're irresponsible, and this and that, and the other thing, you just think about yourself, but you feel authentic in the moment. This is what I'm feeling. But then the issue here is that really authentic? So we have moods that are fleeting. We have moods that are very brief, and then when they change. And if we express what we're feeling in the moment, then we're letting our emotions, letting our moods guide our actions. Again, it becomes the nightmare because we burn a lot of bridges. We destroy relationships. Whereas if we let that mood go of being irritated or annoyed or whatever it is, then, or feeling very insecure because someone didn't invite me, but they invited others to this function or whatever it is, we let that mood go. Then what can happen is that over time, we can recognize, is that feeling recurring? Do I keep having the same feeling that about this person? And what often can happen is we realize that just the mood is ephemeral. It goes, it's like a cloud in the sky. You watch it come and you watch it go. But the feelings we have can be much more long term. If an emotion keeps returning to you, it keeps returning to you like, hey, I really want to address this issue with this person, and after weeks, month, 2 months, you're still feeling that, then it's not just a mood, it's a longer term feeling, and maybe you do want to address it. But those shorter term, like moods du jour, the moods of the moment, we need to let those pass so we can get to our real authenticity. Because here's the thing, let's suppose that you curse someone out, and then a month later, you know what, I really shouldn't have spoken that way to my sister. Now it's really strained the relationship. It wasn't a good idea. Well, then was that authentic actually? Because your long-term vision of how you want to develop your relationship with your sister is not to scream at her. And so we can choose how to respond. Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, is all about this. It's all about that in between stimulus and response is a space. You can enlarge that space, and that space is what defines your future, because that space is where your values emerge. So here's a stimulus. Again, I'll use the same example. Sister talks behind your back. Of course, substitute sister, friend, parent, whoever. Okay, sister talks behind your back. Response, what's it going to be? Well, in between stimulus and response is this space where our values can emerge. We can give it time, and no response is a response. We can choose not to respond. That's our choice. That's our power. And when we do respond, we may only respond if we have something to say that is what we think. You may think for the next 2 months, my sister annoys the living blank out of me, and I don't really want to talk with her. I can't believe she did that. And so whatever I say, right? Whatever I say, if it's going to be what I think, that's not authentic, because in the long term, I want to take the high road. I want to transcend this issue and move toward the loving relationship I want to have with her, instead of where this will go if I respond. So in other words, what you think should not always be what you say. So I'm thinking my sister is annoying the living blank out of me, but I'm not going to say it. But what you say should always be what you think. So I'm not going to speak until I can share something that's aligned with my values, consistent with my values and my life vision for how I want to be remembered when I'm 80 years old, looking back on my life, and my sister's there at my 80th birthday party, and what I want her to be saying about me and about how I treated her. Until I can speak that way, I'm going to be silent. You know, one time I was in Vietnam, and I was near the demilitarized zone, and I went to visit these tombs and was walking around this beautiful countryside, and I came upon a farmer who was there farming by himself, and we got into a conversation. He was older, and you know, so he was at the time I was probably 30, and he was like 60, and I said to him, I've been amazed at how well people treat me here in Vietnam, considering that I'm American. I go, it must have been really, really difficult. I'm sure it was really difficult for you during that war. But by the way, we call it the Vietnam War. In Vietnam, you know what they call it? They call it the American War. All right. So I said, it must have been very difficult for you during that war. And his response was just one of the most beautiful forms of expression I've ever heard. His response was, I choose silence. And it was just so beautiful and instructive. I learned so much from this farmer, because here I was, this American gallivanting around the countryside, and I'm just going to get into conversations, and let's talk about the war, right? I wasn't in the war, and he's saying, you know what I think would not be appropriate to share with you right now. So I choose silence. We can always choose silence. I think you should only say what you're going to do, because if you say and then you don't do it, then no one trusts you anymore. So I have a leadership principle, which is under promise and over deliver, not the opposite. It's what a lot of us do, is we over promise and under deliver, and then our trust accounts diminish. People don't trust us anymore. So your word is all you have, right? You should say what you're going to do and then do what you say, unless you say it and then later realize that you can't, your values command you not to do it. And then you got to manage expectations. Hey, I know I spoke with you about coming to this event you're putting on. I really appreciate you inviting me. I know I said I was going to come, but I've really been thinking about it, and I really have to be there for my parents on that day, or I've got to do this, or you know what, I just don't think it's the right. I really feel like it's a good fit for what I'm really passionate about right now. But I thank you for inviting me. What you don't want to do is you don't want to say you're going to come to the event and then don't show up, because then you get people write you off. So I would say that there's two things we do in life. We choose how we want to live, and we live with what we choose. So there's a visionary in you that chooses how you want to live, and there's the what I call the actionary that lives with what you choose.
Life offers us many challenges, and the artoflivingfree.org offers new ways of thinking so we can see these challenges from a new angle and overcome them. Whether it's Anthony Silard's free blog, video or podcast series, his book, Screened in: The Art of Living Free in the Digital Age, or personalized courses, the artoflivingfree.org will help you refine your life vision and then transform it into action. Find out more at theartoflivingfree.org.